Greetings, everybody. Welcome to the frozen land of Skyrim. And welcome to the 500 subscribers Q&A answer video. I'm feeling a bit slow today, actually. In all honesty, I was up all last night until 6 in the morning, watching Variax's 24-hour mega stream thing, and I've still not quite recovered, in all honesty. I've had a stiff cup of coffee and everything, but I don't feel so brilliant, to be perfectly honest. But hey, I thought I might as well do the video today anyway, because it's been roughly, just under a week or so since I posted the first video. And I thought, why the hell not? This is the character I'm playing as, by the way. I'm doing the Thieves Guild stuff at the minute. No spoilers, people, because I've not completed it yet at all. This is the first time I've done the Thieves Guild, and I'd like to go through it without any spoilers. So yeah, anyway, thought we might go for a little stroll. I've seen a few other Let's Players do Q&A videos like this, just walking along, and it's quite a nice way to do it, I think, actually. So I figured I might as well do it too. So yeah, without further ado, oh lovely, a polar bear. Right, I'm just going to whack on God mode here, because I don't want to be focusing on not dying. I want to be focusing on answering questions. Let's see if I can go around this poor fella. Don't really want to antagonise him too much if I can help it. So anyway, without further ado, oh hello. Out of my way, Snow Bear. Anyway, so until I was rudely interrupted by the bear, I was about to begin. So, first question. By the way, guys, I do like that you didn't ask me like a whole spam ton of questions, but the ones you did ask me were pretty good ones, which is basically exactly what I was hoping for. So kudos to you lot for that. Do appreciate it. So anyway, first question is, when did you start getting into gaming? Now let me see. Well, the first computer this family, actually, I was going to say back in like 1998 and stuff like that, but actually it was really kind of before that. Back when I was very, very young, we had this little Amstrad CPC computer, like a really old thing from the 80s, which played little cassette tapes as games in and stuff like that, and took half an hour to warm up and load the games and things like that, like literally half an hour. Amazing little thing, just had a little joystick and a keyboard, which also had like the cassette player built into it and stuff. Very cool little thing. I don't know what happened to it in the end, but yeah, that's probably when I first started playing computer games, I suppose. I suppose when I first really got into gaming, aside from it being just sort of like a remote little distraction, was when we got our first proper like PC in my family, which was a little Pentium 2 job which had Windows 98 on it, and we got it in 1998, because my tiny like 5-year-old or so brain in 1999 was incredibly confused when we didn't get Windows 99, because I thought, oh, you have to upgrade it every year, don't you? Because otherwise why would it be called Windows 98? But no. So yeah, that was when I first got it, and it came with a couple of games, which were, I think, Battlezone, which was a cool little game, actually. It was sort of like a very interesting cross between an RTS and an FPS, where it was sort of set in space, and it was like this sort of almost atom punk like Cold War in space between like America and the Soviet Union, and you could play as the Americans or the Soviets in the game. And basically you did a little campaign, and it involved aliens and stuff like that. It was quite fun. Basically you drove around a little hover tank and you commanded all your forces like a little factory that built more units and stuff like that, and all your little wingmen, and you went and go out and destroy the enemy. It was quite cool, although being about 5 years old or so, I wasn't very good at it, as you can probably imagine. And the other game we got with our computer was Combat Flight Simulator. Yeah, Microsoft Combat Flight Simulator, like the first Combat Flight Simulator. We had a joystick for it as well, and that was basically just sort of like kind of like an ancient predecessor, far less realistic, I might add, predecessor to IL-2 Sturmovik, I suppose. It had two main campaigns in it, like the Battle of Britain and sort of the battle over Europe, with like the bombing raids and stuff like that, where you could play as a British pilot, an American pilot, or a German pilot. And that sucked up hours and hours of my time, because when I was little I was always sort of like absolutely obsessed with like World War II and aeroplanes and stuff like that, so you know, that just fueled the flames, that did. And ever since then really I was just totally into gaming and games and video games, computer games, all that sort of thing. Yeah, it's funny really though, because I never had a games console when I was little. A lot of people, all my friends, had like Nintendo 64s and PlayStations and, you know, stuff like that, but I never had that. I played on them, certainly, every now and again. I remember playing a bit of Spyro every now and again at a friend's house or something like that.
Crimes against Skyrim and her people.
Oh, go away. Go away, woman. Can I not bribe you? Can I not bribe you? Alright, death to you then. I don't think I really feel like parting with $1,000. Come on, you're interrupting my video, you should know better. Stupid Winterhold Guard. Where did you come from anyway? What are you doing out here on the road? Goodness me. I can't help but not loot, you know. It's like an obsessive compulsive thing. That'll do. Anyway, that may prove a problem once we get into Winterhold, which is where I'm going with the quest I'm currently supposed to be doing. Oh, and we've got a thief coming up to us as well, and some wolves off to the right somewhere. Time for you to die as well.
Hand over your valuables. Don't. Good is dead.
This road is incredibly crowded for some reason. I don't quite understand why, to be honest with you.
Oh, you got.
Ooh, nasty. Anyway, I love some of these kill moves. Anyway, continuing on from where I left off, provided those wolves don't interrupt us. In fact, I'm struggling to remember where I did leave off, but anyway, yeah, I was just saying, like, I never had a console myself. I used to go play Spyro a bit at a friend's house, like on a PlayStation, something like that. But other than that, no, I never had a console. I just had a computer with a few computer games on, you know, like Flight Simulator and stuff like that, and Tomb Raider and that kind of thing. So I've always been, right from the very start, really, a PC gamer. You know, I have an old Xbox 360 tucked away somewhere, but I've played it all of about 3 times since I bought it, and just haven't used it since. I've always just preferred gaming on a PC, really, even if it is a little bit more problematic sometimes. It's just one of those things. It's what I've grown up used to, you know. So yeah, that's when I sort of really first got into gaming. And the next question, how/why did you start Let's Playing? Which is a good question. How/why? Well, I watched Let's Play videos, obviously. There's another bear up there. I think I might avoid him. I like this bit of Skyrim, by the way. It reminds me a lot of Solstheim from Blood Moon, the Blood Moon expansion from Morrowind. It's very cool. Sort of frozen wasteland you get up here. But anyway, yeah, why did I start Let's Playing? Well, like I said, I watched Let's Plays for quite a long time before I even uploaded my first video to YouTube. Lots of people I watched, like Joseph V. Stalin, Variax, Jeff, you know, people like that, as well as just a few random ones that I can't even remember now because it's been so long. And that sounds a little bit it is. There's just the one bear over there. It sounded like there was another one a bit closer, but anyway. There is another bear. I thought so. Let's just move on over this way. Yeah, hello goat. I'd rather deal with you than the bear, frankly. So yeah, I watched lots of Let's Plays, and they were great fun. And I'm quite a creative person. When I sort of read a book, for example, often a particularly good one, a lot of people will probably just sort of like put the book down and be like, oh, that was really good, or maybe pick up the next one in the series or something like that. But me, I often like get this compulsion to just sort of and I used to write all the time when I was in school, you know, write little books and things like that. I used to do lots of little choose your own adventure type mini story things, which are always great fun. But yeah, I've always been a bit of a creative person in that sense. Like if I read a good book, I'll put it down and I'll sit there thinking, I'd quite like to write something myself, you know. And I do a lot of drawing. I'm actually going off in September. I'm going off to art school in Norwich to do illustration and stuff like that. So, you know, like I said, I've always been a creative person, and watching a Let's Play and thinking I'd like to do something after that was sort of no exception to the rule, really. It's just I didn't do it for a very long time because I had for a very long time a very, very crap computer. I did try recording a Let's Play once for, I think it was Rome Total War actually, but it just wasn't happening because Fraps caused my computer to lag out like nobody's business, and it just wasn't on the cards. And I didn't have a proper microphone either, so it just didn't happen. But as soon as I got this new computer a little while ago, well, about a year ago now, probably something like that, I got back into watching Let's Play videos, specifically a lot of Variaxis ones actually, and decided, you know what, why don't I have another bash at this, you know? Might as well give it another go, and I did, and well, here I am, you know? It's not been easy, I must admit. Lovely weather, blizzard. Okay. It's not been easy, I will admit, and it's harder for even more people. I think I was very lucky in choosing sort of More Oblivion because I didn't really realise how popular it would actually become. I mean, if you go back and look at like the first More Oblivion video, which is, by the way, I'm the first to admit that's a pretty terrible video. Like, all the sound quality in it is awful, and my commentary is kind of crap, but, you know, I suppose that's what you really expect from a... Oh, right, okay, another guard. Well, you know what? I don't really have time for your shenanigans. So, away with you. I'll resurrect him in a bit when I'm actually playing this properly. I kind of hope they didn't do this psychic guard nonsense, in all honesty, in Skyrim, because I've gone into a couple of places where I had a bounty and the guards just didn't recognise you. But hey, you know. I think we're heading to the inn now, since we've run out of road to walk along. Just sit down in here and I can do the rest of the talking, hopefully without any distractions. Now then, seems like a good place over here in the corner, away from everyone else. Right, now, yeah, as I was saying, it wasn't easy getting started, and I do my best, sort of, if I come across an LP who's very new to it as well, and is doing their own thing to sort of, like, you know, sort of comment on their videos and say how good they are and give them a little shout out every now and again. Because, yeah, it is difficult, you know, getting your videos seen by people, because obviously when someone like Google will say Let's Play Oblivion or something, there are so many videos that are going to come up before yours, you know. So I think I was lucky with More Oblivion because, you know, although I didn't, like I said, realise at the time, a lot of people ended up sort of Googling it's probably More Oblivion and then finding my videos, you know, when they did. So, you know, it's just one of those things, you know. But I mean, I've had help. I mean, I must admit, when I first started doing Let's Playing, I kind of figured that I'd probably make it to something like 20 videos, and just sort of, you know, give up and not bother with it anymore. But that's not been the case, actually. I've come quite far, really. I've got over 100 videos in More Oblivion alone, let alone some of the other stuff I've done, which impresses me to no end. You know, so, and now 500 or so subscribers, you know, it's fantastic. I can scarcely believe it, really, you know. I will admit, I think I had a lot of help from, I say a lot of help, I mean, people didn't do a whole amount, but what the little they did do counted for a lot. And what I mean by that is, say, I think when I was doing videos very, very early on, relatively speaking, I'm still quite new to this, really. At the end of the day, I might have 500 subscribers, but I still feel like I've only just started doing this, to be honest with you guys. But when I was doing stuff early on, and I probably only had about 100 subscribers or so, I remember Variax posted a comment on my channel, and said that he really liked my videos, and he thought that my More Oblivion ones were really great and stuff like that, and I think he even subscribed to my channel as well. And, you know, just a little comment like that, a little sort of like, I really like your videos and stuff like that, isn't much, but when you're really new to it, like I was, and you're still finding your feet, and you're still not even sure if you're going to bother continuing or whatever, that, you know, from a person like Variax, who is, well, I hesitate to use the word famous, because fame on the internet is such a relativistic thing, but a quote-unquote famous person like that, so not only famous, but someone whose videos I've watched lots of, you know, I'm a big fan of, and who has lots of subscribers and stuff like that. For someone like that to come onto your channel and say, I think your videos are really great, that is just like the most epic morale booster you could possibly imagine, you know. I think if to be perfectly honest, I probably would have stopped doing Let's Plays and pushing on and keep going and persevering, if I hadn't had like a few little comments like that from people. So, you know, if you're watching Variax, then I seriously appreciate it, man. That was really great of you, and thanks. So, you know, anyway, so moving on, the next question is, what's your favourite movie/movies? And I'm glad you put movies there, really, because I find it incredibly difficult to pick a one specific favourite thing out of anything. I'm very indecisive like that, and these things always kind of almost depend on what mood I'm in. But movie-wise, I'm not a huge connoisseur of movies and stuff like that, like, you know, like some people are, but I do have a few favourites, I must admit. Like I've said before, like the way I kind of judge sort of what something is my favourite of or whatnot, I find the most foolproof way of doing it, really, at the end of the day, is because my mood will often change, and I'll decide, oh, I'm into this kind of movie at the minute, or that kind of movie, or this, that, the other. The easiest way I find to do it is just think, what films have I watched the most? And out of those films I've watched the most, those will probably be my favourites, because if I don't get tired of them and keep coming back to watch them again and again and again, chances are I really like them, in spite of everything else, you know. So, you know, you might get really good films, and I'm a huge fan of, like, say, The Seventh Samurai. I think Akira Kurosawa, and that film in particular, are absolutely amazing. I love them to bits. But I have not watched it very often. I mean, it's an amazing film, but there are other films I've watched more often, like, say, The 13th Warrior, which is, I absolutely love that film. I have it on DVD and everything. Which kind of ironically is almost, in a way, a sort of retelling of the Seven Samurai basic plot line, you know. Which is funny, I guess. But yeah, I'd say it's a lot of fantasy films I really do like. I don't know if you can really call 13th Warrior fantasy. I would call it fantasy, because it's very... While it's based in sort of like Dark Age Europe in Scandinavia, it's very, very, very highly stylized, and there's not a lot of historical accuracy thrown in there, you know. So I generally speaking, tend to call it fantasy. So that's a great film. I absolutely love that. I adore the Lord of the Rings films. I know they're not everyone's cup of tea, and the books certainly aren't everyone's cup of tea. But I think they are just absolutely amazing films. They are, you know... my mum and dad would always sit me down sometimes on film night or whatever and make me watch stuff like Casablanca, which, you know, back in their day was like a really awesome film that I absolutely loved. And for me, the Lord of the Rings trilogy, especially the first film, since that's the only one I ever saw actually on the big screen, and I absolutely love. The Lord of the Rings films for me are kind of like that Casablanca type thing, like this all-time great film that will last like forever, will never get old. I'm sure they'll remake it, like 10, 20 years from now, or something like that. But it will always have a very special place in my heart, those films. I can go back and watch them umpteen times and never get bored, I think they're absolutely amazing. But, not everyone's cup of tea, as I said, Other favourite films, let me think. Oh, Barbarian Brothers, definitely. Oh my god, what a film that was. Seriously though, actually, there's if we're talking about films that are kind of so bad they're good, Hercules is a pretty amazing one actually in that regard. It's like this. It was kind of made in the wake of Conan the Barbarian, which again is another one of my all-time favourite films. And it was about sort of like the Greek hero Hercules, but it bears very, very, very little resemblance to the actual Greek myth itself. And it's absolutely ridiculous. It's got giant space robots in it, and like the gods of the Greek gods are actually just aliens who live on the moon, and oh my god, it's amazing. And it has a rainbow sword in it as well. It's just fantastic. I think at one point Hercules punches a bear and it flies off into space. It's just so cool. Other than that, let me think. What other films are there? I like a lot of those old war films that you got from like the sort of 50s, 60s, stuff like that. Like I love the Battle of Britain. That's a really awesome film. Interestingly, for its time as well, quite historically accurate too. And it actually, and being the days before CGI, there's some fantastic bits in it. Like it was all filmed at Duxford, which is a museum nowadays. It's a museum which I've been to a lot of times. Favourite place of mine to go. And in the film, the German bombers do a bombing raid on this British airfield, which is Duxford, and they drop their bombs on the airfield and stuff like that. And one of them drops a bomb on one of the hangars, which explodes. And this is in the days before CGI, so this hangar really did, like, for the film, and this was an actual World War II era hangar, like it was an original thing. They actually blew the thing up with tons of explosives for the film. As well as all the planes in the films, all the aerial combat scenes, they're actually real airplanes flying around in the sky, sort of fake shooting at each other and stuff like that, flying in formation. Absolutely amazing film. I love it. It's got so many great actors in it as well. Other films like that, let me think. The Longest Day, that's a good one. I did once see it in colour, actually. There's a rare colourised version of that film, which is particularly excellent. Which I've only seen a couple of times. All the other times it's been on, it's always been in black and white for some reason. I think other films like Patton, that's pretty damn good. Bridge on the River Kwai, brilliant. Dam Busters, amazing. I think they're going to remake that at some point, actually. I'm a bit sceptical about it. Might be good, might be terrible. But yeah, the original Dam Busters will always have a place in my heart. Stuff like that. The Eagle Has Landed with Michael Caine in. That's an amazingly good film. Yeah, stuff like that. Where Eagles Dare. That's a good one. I read the book actually, Where Eagles Dare, as well. That's a cracker. So yeah, as far as films go, I think off the top of my head, I mean, there's so many others, that I could probably think I've given enough time, but those are probably my favourites. So yeah.